Hi, Shane here. You're watching Sam for God, and this is Mark. Check her out.
So hi guys, how are you doing? Today is Saturday, the 26th of August 2017, and I'm currently in Wagamama's, joined by none other than Joe, who looks very, very smart today. It was his idea for both of us to wear shirts, so that's why when you see us together, you'll see that we're kind of matching.
And theatre, isn't it?
Exactly. It's Saturday night, and where are we off to see?
Saturday night on the West End.
What are we seeing?
Annie.
We're seeing Annie the musical. It's starring Miranda Hart.
Hopefully.
She should be on, hopefully. She was on this afternoon. Joe is a big fan of her. I've never really seen her in anything, but I've heard good things about her. I'm a big fan of Annie. You probably can't even hear me. I love Annie. It's one of my favourite musicals. It was the first musical that Joe was ever in. And it was one of the first musicals I ever saw as a child, so it's going to be a special day.
I was about 10 or 11.
Oh, who were you in it? Ensemble?
I was just ensemble.
That sounds really fun, to be fair. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to it, just because I've never seen Annie. Well, I saw Annie on Broadway a few years ago and I didn't like it. No, and I saw it once on tour in the UK as well. Didn't like it.
Part of me really wants to see Broadway one to come here because it's very different.
What? Maybe, yeah. I just didn't like the production at all. But I think what I've seen at West End Live, and what I've seen at West End Live, this production looks really good. It looks very similar to the Disney version of it. There's a Disney version of Annie that came out in 1998, 1999, which I really love and really recommend. You should watch it if you haven't. It's very loud. We're gonna eat. Our food has arrived now, guys. Of course, we both went for chicken katsu curry. What else? Looks good though. I haven't had that Wagamama's in a long time, so this is mine. This is Joe's. We've got an every katsu coming very soon as well. Joe's being very healthy with that green juice.
I always feel when I drink one of these, I always feel like I should be in LA.
Is that why you do it?
Just in LA.
We are out of Wagamama's now, as you can probably tell. We're outside, we're in the air. We're actually currently walking towards so I love that song, Good Side. Do you? Yeah. Controversial Christmas opinions. Yeah, we're walking towards Piccadilly Theatre, which is where Annie's at. Joe's getting a bit emotional. We've got Miranda Hart's face over there. You are right, it is very blue, the theming of the theatre at the moment. The last time I was at the Piccadilly Theatre was for Jersey Boys. Its final show back in, I think it was January time or February. Maybe it was March. It was March. Yes. There's a vlog of that if you want to go on. Okay, we're going to stand here for a second, admire the beauty of the theatre. Look at that. That's the logo. Oh, it's just gone. Marvellous. There she is again. All the songs, Miss Hannigan. My favourite song, actually, one of my favourite songs from one of my favourite musical theatre songs, I'd say, is probably It's a Hard Knock Life. I just think it's very catchy. And again, if you listen to the version from Disney, 1999 Disney version of Annie, it's incredible. The choreography for that is incredible, and I believe the choreography for this is quite similar to the one from the Disney version from what I saw at West End Live, so hopefully it'll be the same. So I really enjoy that choreography. Anyway, we are going to take some pictures now and then go in. Feel good, escapist joy, fun, riotous and heartfelt, says Radio Times. This is a massive poster of Anne. This is me. Oh, somebody's trying to go past. Joe's laughing at me. We've got another picture of her in the show as Miss Hannigan. Another rather big poster here. Some more photos here. So it's a beautiful decorated theatre. Like, well done to them. They've got some more stuff going on here. We've got 3 different possible Annies, by the way. And we actually do have an understudy. Joe has a secret Annie that I don't know, he knows the Annies more than I do. I don't really know anything about the cast, really. So I'm not bothered to actually, but Joe has read into it a bit more. But yeah, we are going to go in now. Alexander McCormick. Hello. Good, how are you? Sorry. My friend's mom. How are you guys? I mean, you can. I mean, you're Alex loves the camera, doesn't she?
I hate it.
She's the best vlogger. She needs to start her own channel. Anyway, I've just bumped into my friend Alex. We don't know when I start. See you later. Joe's just getting a program, but that was a really fun moment. It's always nice meeting, like just randomly bumping into people that you know at the theatre. We're in our seats now, as you can see. We're on the front row. Joe got these tickets. Thank you. On a Saturday night as well. Like, well done. Are you excited, Joe?
So excited. We've got the girl who I really wanted on is Annie.
Ruby, her name is, right?
Yeah, Ruby Stokes. The understudy for Lily, who I really wanted because I don't like the other one.
Because he saw the tour and he was the same person, right? He saw the tour and he was saying Lily. And then Joe's already got his program and brochure situation going on. And look how close we are, guys. This is ridiculous. Like, we're pretty much in the
There have been years of greater suffering and hardship.
We do that. But anyway, this is the theatre, and I'm going to speak to it. It's the interval, guys, and I am legit absolutely loving it so far. I had an hour and 45 minutes of sleep last night. I didn't even sleep last night, I slept today. I had 2 naps of 1 hour each, pretty much. But I'm awake, I'm loving it, I'm not bored at all. I think I just really love Annie as a musical. It completely takes me back to my childhood because I was obsessed with Annie as a child. Loved it, the whole Disney version of it. That's the only one I watched as a child. I've never actually properly watched the original Annie. I've watched bits of the original Annie, but not the full thing. I'll talk about the whole thing later because I've got many opinions on the cast, the sets and everything, but all I can say is that I'm really enjoying it. How are you finding it, Joe? Don't fall?
It is amazing. It is amazing.
It's so good, isn't it? I'm just enjoying it because the songs are good, the choreography is amazing.
The ensemble, the Grace is much better 2 years later.
Oh really? 2 years that you saw her on tour?
Yeah.
Wow.
I'm happy that we have an understudy on Lily.
Is she good, do you think?
Yeah,
she's
really
good.
good.
I love the guy that plays Rooster, Johnny Fiennes, amazing.
He's brilliant. The girl
Our Annie is amazing.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. She's like insane.
The dog is adorable. Like, I want my own dog.
This chick, I think she's very good.
Oh, the chick, the main chick, our main chick. Yeah, she's hilarious. I think, so obviously I'm not very familiar with Miranda Hart. Obviously I'm one of the few people in the world who doesn't watch her. But like her comedy is very unique and she's so funny.
She's really funny.
Like,
she's not the best singer.
Oh, she's not a good singer at all. Sorry.
But she's
but it doesn't matter because she's made it her own. She's very much. She's not what you think Miss Hannigan is.
With Miss Hannigan as well, you don't actually have to sing like amazing.
Exactly. But also, she's not what I imagine Miss Hannigan to be at all. You know how you showed me the understudy, and I looked at her and I was like, if I'd seen her, I can picture her exactly as Miss Hannigan. Whereas like, she's very, and I admire that because she's made it her own. So well done. She's hilarious.
Well done, Miranda Hart. Such fun.
I swear we have her on, don't we? Is she on today as well?
We have all the kids.
As Molly. The whole cast is amazing. But anyway, I'll talk about all that later. But yeah, we are going to go back to our seats now. So guys, we are back in our seats now after a little photo shoot session, which Joe very much enjoyed. Did you enjoy that?
Loved it.
You don't sound convincing.
No, I did actually love it.
Did you actually? Genuinely? We had like 8 different people that pictures of us.
The more I hang out with you,
right, the more
I become more calmer.
You do, like relax with people around.
When it becomes like with vlogging and stuff, I want to try and vlog more publicly.
Well done, I'm really happy.
When we're outside, I'm going to spend, we're not going to go home for about 2 hours.
No? So we can just walk around and you can vlog. Yeah, of course. Well, maybe like 2 hours, half an hour. Anyway, we also got some, some chocolate buttons, just because why not? And 2 bottles of water because water is always good. One for me, one for Joseph. Oh, sorry, Joe. He hates it when I say Joseph. Oh, I also really, talking about Joe's, the guy that plays Rooster, Johnny Fiennes, he looks a lot like Joe Sugg, Thatcher Joe, in my opinion. He just reminds me of him. Do you not think?
No.
Do you not think? Oh my god, I need to show the situation to you and make you understand what I'm seeing. But anyway, this is the stage again, beautiful. Look at it. And yeah, we'll speak to you after the second act. The show's just finished, guys, and I loved it. It was so much fun. We have now come to the stage door because Joe really wants to hopefully, potentially meet Miranda Hart. I also got myself a program in this lovely Annie bag, which I'm gonna hopefully. Oh, sorry. What did you want me to do? Yeah, I will do in a second. Yeah, I also got a program and a brochure as well because I feel like I need the information to talk to you about the cast later. But whether or not we get to see her, who knows? We're going to stay for a bit. But yeah, I'm still in the hype.
Alright, night guys.
Stay with me. Sorry guys. Aww. Oh, thank you so much. That's really kind. Would you mind signing this, please? Thank you so much. You were amazing. Thank you. Thanks.
Incredible. Thank you.
Thank you. I'd like to thank you. Well, that was a bit crazy. Traumatic.
Traumatic. Do you know what? I'm going to actually say something here.
Go on, what's your problem? What's your...
If you are at a stage store, have some bloody respect.
Oh, Lord.
Like, seriously.
Because, jokes aside, I also will talk about this more when I get home, but, like, Miranda's not just a piece of meat. Like, that's kind of how people act with her.
She was like,
she was surprised. I told her, like, oh, you're amazing. She was surprised to actually talk to her, because most people are like, selfie, selfie, can you sign this? Like, that's all they do. They don't actually talk to her as if she's a human.
I turned around and I said to a young girl, I said, can you actually wait?
Yeah, people just like, oh, it's crazy. Anyway, she signed it very quickly, even though it was very, you probably can't even see mine because mine's not with a Sharpie, but it's a little heart. I guess that's obviously because it's Miranda Hart, and you got yours signed there.
I didn't realise.
You just realised it, Joe. But yeah, it was cool to meet the chick. She was lovely. She took her time and met quite a few people. But that's it.
We're going to more selfies.
Yeah, me and Joe are gonna go have another show footage in a second, but I'll talk to you a bit more about the show in a second. Okay guys, I'm in my room now, we're home. I just thought I'd talk a little bit about the show because there's so many thoughts that I have about the show, and I really genuinely enjoyed it. So I ended up buying a brochure and a programme. I always get a programme from every show I see just because I like knowing the cast and stuff, and as I showed earlier, Miranda Hart, bless her, she did sign it with a regular pen, even though Joe had a Sharpie. Unfortunately, Miranda was just so busy that she had to sign it with her own pen. Right, so the show itself, it's a bit controversial. I've heard so many mixed things about it, especially from like avid theatre goers, because for an average person who doesn't normally go to the musicals that often, they might just enjoy it because of the fact that Miranda's in it, and then they won't even care much about necessarily quality and stuff. They just want to see someone famous in the show, and that's absolutely fine as well. I have nothing against that. But as somebody who obviously goes to shows and musicals a lot, I genuinely enjoyed the show. I don't think it was amazing. I don't think it was perfect. I don't think the whole cast was amazing. There were so many things I don't think were amazing about the show. But like, more or less, I just like, overall I enjoyed the show. I was smiling throughout pretty much 90% of the show. Obviously most of the happy bits I was smiling through, and that's always a nice feeling, you know, being in a show and just being happy and smiling and feeling great whilst you're watching a show. It was a very feel-good show. Obviously one of the main reasons I guess I love the show is because, you know, I just love Annie. Annie, as I might have mentioned earlier very briefly, was probably the first proper musical that I like fell in love with. Obviously not counting the Disney ones like Mary Poppins and Sound of Music's not Disney, but not counting Disney musicals and Sound of Music. And I never was that big on Sound of Music as a child. I liked it, but I wasn't a big fan of it. Whereas with Annie, I saw it when I was about 9 or 10, and I saw the Disney version of it first. Like that's the version that made me fall in love with it, with the incredible Audrey McDonald as Grace, and Kristen Chenoweth's actually in it as well, in the part of Lily. And Alyssa Morton is the girl that plays Annie in that version, in the Disney Channel version, 1999 version. If you haven't seen it, please go and watch it, because so many people, in fact, it's such a, like, I feel like it's such a, like, underrated version of Annie that most people haven't seen it. Most people have either seen the original Annie or the black Annie that came out a few years ago, and most people just don't even know that there was an Annie in between that was made by the Disney Channel. Please go and watch it if you haven't. You can buy it on Amazon, like on a DVD or something, or just find it somewhere online. It's really good. Anyway, I love that version of Annie. So I don't know, I just love Annie as a musical. It just takes me back to my childhood. It's quite nostalgic for me. So but possibly that was why I loved it so much, because the songs are really good. But having said that, generally I felt like this production was a lot better than the production that I saw of Annie on Broadway in New York back in 2013. I do have a video about that somewhere on my channel from years ago, so feel free to check that out. But I just wasn't a big fan of that production on Broadway. I was very disappointed actually with it. But this one was more, I think, in line with the the Disney version of Annie, the one I grew up with, maybe. You know, I don't really know. I've not seen the original Annie properly, so I don't know what that one's like. But I don't know, it just felt a bit more true to what I think Annie is. So yeah, I enjoyed it more for sure than the Broadway production that I saw a few years ago. The cast. Let's talk about the cast, because that's one of the main things, obviously, that makes any show. Now, of course, this chick here, Miranda Hart, I've got a flyer here. She's the main thing about the show. I guess she's the person that they've used to advertise the show. She's one of the main reasons people go and see the show. Not that people need a reason to go and see Annie, because Annie's such a big musical anyway, but obviously she is the name of it, and it was packed tonight. Miranda Hart, right? I have known of Miranda Hart, of course. Like, you can't live in Britain, in the UK, and not have heard of her. But I had never really watched any of her stuff, any of her comedy at all. I'm just not really into comedy, to be honest. I'm just more of a YouTube person. I don't watch much TV generally, so I'd never watched any of her stuff, but I had heard of her. I'd probably seen her here and there doing interviews, whatever. I knew about her, I knew what she was like, and a lot of my friends and people I know in my life are big fans of her, so I kind of knew what to expect. And she was funny. Like, she plays that kind of awkward character, doesn't she, in Miranda, I guess. I think that's what she's like a very awkward, yeah, just awkward character. And you kind of saw that a bit in her portrayal of Miss Hannigan, which is why I think she'd made the role very much her own, and it wasn't what I imagined Miss Hannigan to be. And at first, in fact, not even at first, from the start, because she's so likeable, Miranda Hart, I didn't care that she was so different, like she was such a different Miss Hannigan. She wasn't very scary. She generally just kind of delivered her lines in a way that wasn't what I imagined Miss Hannigan to do. Like, she delivered most of her lines in a very sarcastic manner, and that's fine because it's Miranda Hart, because she made the character her own, and it was funny, it was hilarious, she was phenomenal. Like, I really genuinely think Miranda Hart was a great performance in this show. Like, she was funny. She wasn't Miss Hannigan, but she was funny, and I didn't mind that she wasn't what I think Miss Hannigan should be. Singing wise, I think I might have mentioned it earlier, she can't sing, and I feel bad saying things like this because obviously, like, I can't sing. Like, it's not like I'm this incredible singer who's like going on about how I'm better than every other person in musicals and stuff. Obviously I also can't sing, and so I feel bad, like, I don't know, complaining about people. But like, let's be honest, Miranda Hart's voice wasn't good, and I was really hoping that it wouldn't be as bad as I'd heard. Like, people had told me that, you know, she can't sing and blah blah blah, but sadly it's true. Like, she just doesn't have the voice for singing. Like, her voice isn't suitable for singing, in my opinion. It's not that she can't sing. She could actually probably hold a tune or so. Like, at some point she actually has quite a bit of power in her voice, and I was like, wow, didn't expect that from you. It's just that the tone of her voice just isn't what normally you want to, like, it's just not the kind of voice you want to listen to, basically. It does not sound nice. In fact, it actually sounded quite painful at times. Sorry. And the thing is, I think she knows it. She knows that she's not a singer, so the couple of songs that she has, like, basically she only really has one song, which is Little Girls, and she sings a little bit in other songs as well, but a lot of that song, she just kind of, instead of singing it, she spoke through it, because she probably also knew herself, like, she recognised that she wasn't the best singer. So fair enough, she adapted it to her own way of doing it, and it worked, but obviously it still was quite painful because some parts of it she still did have to sing it. It just did not sound nice. So yeah, but it does, again, didn't really matter. She's very much a stunt casting situation, obviously, because she is a celebrity who's been cast in this, that's gone right but wrong at the same time. And I don't know how to explain this. Sorry guys, I've got a bit of a cold, but basically it's gone right in the sense that she's been stunt cast, she's a celebrity, and she's not really had much singing experience or anything, and she's in this show and it works, and she makes the show funny, and like, she's enjoyable, and her performance is great, and yeah, like, I enjoyed it. But also it doesn't work because she's not what you want, like what Miss Hannigan is meant to be. She's not traditionally good as Miss Hannigan, if that makes sense, but she's still good because she's made it her own, and it kind of works in her own way. So it's a really weird one. Anyway, I feel like I've talked about her a lot, but it was good. It was fun to see her. You know, she was good. If you're a Miranda Hart fan and you go and see the show, you're gonna love it. If you're an Annie fan and you go and see the show, and you might still like it, because even though she's not what you would want Miss Hannigan to be, she's still quite funny, so well done to her. The rest of the cast were really good as well. It was a very strong cast generally, and I really want to talk about every single cast member, honestly, because every one of them did stand out, but I feel like the video would be very long, so I'm just going to very briefly touch on the children cast. So obviously all the orphans. The girl that was playing Molly was Nicole Subabe, I believe. She was so small, so funny. One thing that she did which was a little bit annoying, was that she kept looking at the conductor, and that was very obvious, but I don't know, maybe she's still new to the show, I don't know. Like, I just noticed that quite a bit, but apart from that, she was so cute and adorable and played Molly so well. She was definitely one of my highlights in the orphanages. Pepper, so we had this girl over here. Can you see this girl here? Her name is Charlotte Ross Gowler. She was our Pepper, and she was, for me, probably the highlight of the orphan kids. She was great. Like, she genuinely stood out in all the kind of orphan numbers. Our Duffy was Catherine Wetter. Again, another very good child performer. Really enjoyed her performance. Then we had, I'm also looking at my phone as well, sorry, because I've got the cast list here. Dora Yoland as Tessie, and Maisie Thorne as Kate. Yeah, I think I've kind of mentioned all the kids, and obviously our Annie tonight was Ruby Stokes. And now let's talk about Annie, because she's the name of the show, and a lot of the show is basically on her hands. Sorry about the noise outside. Ruby Stokes, now she was our Annie tonight, and this is her. It seems that she actually has quite dark hair, and obviously she was wearing a ginger wig tonight, but let's see what she's done. She's been in the Sound of Music UK tour and live in London, so she's not actually done too many shows. I saw she did West End Winter concert as well, but you know, her credit actually seems to be shorter than the other two Annies, but I thought she was fantastic. I can't imagine how hard it must be to be her age. I mean, I'm guessing she's probably about 10, 11 or 12, and pretty much carry a whole show on your shoulders, more or less. And she just had it. Like, she was confident about the whole show. She was very sweet. She was very, very likable. She had the voice. You know, you just believed her in the role of Annie. She was constantly like aware of her surroundings. Obviously she has to deal with a dog at times, Sandy. That's another subject that we're going to get to in a second, but you know, she just felt in command of the whole stage, and that's something that you don't normally see with child actors. Like, it's very rare to find a child actor who feels so confident with everything that you just feel like completely trusted by the performance and their, you know, presence on stage. You know, she was with the dog, she was obviously feeding him at times, and she was just very good. Like, really enjoyed her. And I think one of the reasons I actually preferred this Annie version of Annie to the one I saw on Broadway is because I wasn't the biggest fan of the Annie I saw on Broadway, but this, obviously, Ruby Stokes was fantastic. One thing I will say is that when she was singing at times, and I don't like saying like negative things, but sometimes her pronunciation of some of the words, obviously she was speaking in American, were a little bit not bad, just little bit questionable at times, but that could just be how she's been told to sing, because when she was talking it was fine. It was just doing the songs that sometimes were a bit like, oh, I don't really know, I don't know, let's just not even talk about it because it's such a minor thing, and she was honestly fantastic. So I am sure I'll see Ruby Stokes one day in the future, in not even just one day, I'll see her in many shows in the future. She is gonna go far. This dog here, who's actually called Amber, so it's a girl, Lord have genuine mercy. She was honestly one of the cutest dogs I've ever seen in my life. Like, especially because we were on the front row as well, we were so close to the dog. I at times genuinely like had to like force myself to not hold my arms out and like try to reach the dog and just like stroke the dog, because it was just so cute. And I'm not even a big animal person. I'm not like a massive dog person or a massive like animal person, but this dog was like adorable. There's just something about seeing animals and dogs on stage that just makes you happy. Let's talk about 3 more people before we get to the ensemble. So Alex Bourne, this dude here, played the role of Daddy Warbucks, or Oliver Warbucks, and for me he was actually the best adult cast member, I'd say. He was so spot on. He was so exactly how I've always imagined Warbucks to be like the dude who plays it in the Disney version of Annie. I can't remember his name. I can't remember. It's annoying that I can't remember his name, but if you go and watch the Disney version, you'll know. He was just so believable as Warbucks. He had incredible chemistry with Ruby as Annie, so you very much believed his paternal feelings for Annie. He was funny in like a subtle way. In the serious bits, he was just very believable. He just had it right. And I don't think I've ever seen him in anything before. He's done quite a bit. Like, he's oh my god, he used to play Sam Carmichael in Mamma Mia, the UK tour. He's actually done the tour version of Annie as well, so he's been in it for a while. What else has he done? He's been in Chicago. He's been in Kiss Me Kate, We Will Rock You. Khashoggi. I actually feel like I remember his name from back when he was in Khashoggi, so I might have seen him, but I just don't remember him. He's done a lot, but Oliver Warbucks really suits him, and his voice as well was fantastic. Then we've got Johnny Fiennes, who I would say after Alex as Warbucks, Johnny Fiennes was probably the second best adult performer for me. So Johnny Fiennes is this dude here, as you can see. I actually saw him in Lift, which was a musical at the Soho Theatre a few years ago, and it was really nice to see him in this. And honestly, his characterization of Rooster is spot on. It's a little bit different to, again, what I'm used to from the Disney version of Annie, from the 1999 version of it, but he's just, again, so in character the whole time. He's a fantastic dancer. Every time he was on stage, I couldn't stop watching him. Like, my eyes would just automatically go to him, and again, that's a sign of being a strong performer, because you're always kind of absorbed by him. And in the dance numbers, you know, I was always watching him, and he was just always in character, so well done to him. Great voice as well. Really glad I got to see him in this, actually, because the role that he played in Lift wasn't too big, but I got to see him more in this, so that was really nice. Grace Farrell, and I always find this one quite a difficult one, because I love Audrey McDonald's portrayal of Grace so much from the Disney version of Annie that I just can't find anybody to be able to do it as well as she did, to be honest. I hated the Grace that I saw on Broadway back in 2013. I just thought she had the whole characterization wrong. She was just not as nice as you want Grace to be. This one, what we had tonight, was played by this lovely lady here, Holly Dale Spencer. And Joe, my friend obviously who was with me, said that he'd actually seen her a couple of years ago in the tour. So again, it seems like she's done the UK tour as well. So she's been involved with Annie for a while. It took me a while to warm to her. I didn't like her first entrance, you know, when she first goes to Miss Hannigan's office and all that. I thought she was just a little bit too sarcastic and harsh for my liking. I know obviously she has to be a little bit because she's dealing with Miss Hannigan, but I feel like the way Audrey McDonald played Grace in the 1999 version of Annie makes her seem very kind and yeah, kind-hearted from the very start, even when she is in Miss Hannigan's office. Like, you know that she's being nice even to Miss Hannigan, and that makes you like her more. Again, this could be completely a directional thing. It could just not be her fault. Like, it could be just what she's been told to do. But she very much grew on me. So towards the end of Act 1 and then obviously Act 2, liked her a lot. I thought she was really good. Her voice was fantastic. And yeah, she grew on me. Again, I don't think she was perfect in my opinion. Just the way she played Grace wasn't perfect in my opinion. Again, please don't think that my opinion means that much. It's just I have a specific way of wanting Grace to be played, and I've got Audrey McDonald to compare it to, and you know, it's just hard when you've got Audrey, you know, the queen. But she was really good. So we actually had an understudy for Lily St. Regis because this chick here was off. So instead of her, we had Kate Somerset Howe, this one here, as Lily, and she was really good. Again, Lily's part isn't big enough for me to be able to say much about her, but she looked the part. She was funny. I thought she was really good. Like, I enjoyed her. Yeah, she was good. I'm aware of how long this video has been already, but I really quickly want to talk about some of the ensemble members as well, because there were some great people in the ensemble. So very quickly, let's just kind of flick through the program together. This dude here, hilarious, Bobby Delaney. I don't think I've ever seen him in anything before. Nope, maybe in Spamalot, maybe in Spamalot, because his face is quite familiar, but he was so funny. He has like a moment in Act 2 that was really funny. This chick here, Lord have mercy, Keisha Atwell, I feel like I might have seen her in something. She was in Legally Blonde at the Curve, but I didn't see it at the Curve. She's done quite a few things. She was in Memphis as well. Wow, understudy Memphis. In any case, she stood out for me from the start. Like in all the ensemble parts that she played, she does have a few like solo singing parts as well. She was really good. And then suddenly, in the beginning of Act 2, there's a scene where, if you've seen Annie, which most of you probably have, it's those singers, lady singers, singing that at the radio. Na 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 na. So long for a... I can't sing. But she was one of those singers. And she was kind of stood very much face to face with me, because obviously I was front row. Me and my friend was front row on row A. And I just got water, as you would have seen. We just got bottles of water. So I was starting to drink my water. And she started looking at me full on, like making eye contact with me. And then she was like, I want water, I want a drink. And I was like, I don't know what to do. And that just started this whole thing. And I was like, I tapped Joe on the shoulder. I was like, come on, like, Joe, can you help me out here? Like, this chick on stage is like full on like interacting with us, and it was hilarious. Like, she really actually made that scene for us, Keisha. Well, thank you, because we were just laughing throughout the whole thing. She was amazing. She was still in she was in character throughout the whole thing, but she obviously, like, she wasn't just telling me to give her water. She was in character as one of the singers, but she was just like interacting with me, and it was so funny. And then she realized I was laughing about it, so she did it more. And thank you, basically. She just was great, and she was just generally great as well in the whole show. And I think that's it when it comes to the cast. But the whole ensemble was really good. The whole cast was really good. They all looked like they were having a great time, and that's what matters. I think that's why I was smiling throughout most of it, because I could tell that they were loving it as well. Last but not least, I want to talk about 3 more people. First is the director, who is Nikolai Foster. I thought the direction was really good. I thought, yeah, every scene felt busy. Like the scenes that were meant to feel busy were busy, and I think that was one of my main problems again with the 2013 version of Annie that I saw on Broadway, because I just wasn't happy with some of the choreography and some of the movements. But this was great. Speaking of obviously the director, the choreographer, Nick Winston, he's done quite a lot of stuff. He's an international director and choreographer, and his biography is huge. He's done a lot, and I loved the choreography. I thought everyone was great. All the dancers were great, but also the choreography itself was fantastic. Like I said, scenes like, oh my god, like It's a Hard Knock Life for me was definitely a highlight, and I loved the choreography, and it was very similar to the choreography that they used in the Disney version of Annie. Sorry I keep mentioning that, but I just love that version. And then NYC again, I thought the direction and the choreography were really good in it. I think I'm gonna like it here. I think that's what it's called. Loved the choreography in it. It's hard, isn't it? Like when you, obviously in the film it's easier to do things like this and make scenes look busy and exciting, and sometimes it's hard to translate that on stage for a show like this, even though Annie's obviously was a musical at first. But yeah, I thought they did a really good job to keep you excited and always having something going on. So yeah, that's that. The last thing I want to talk about, sorry, I feel like this vlog's been really long, is the musical director, who was George Dyer. I hope that he was the person that we saw tonight. He had quite long hair, and he was loving life. Like at times I had to watch him instead of what was going on stage, because he was loving life, and like that makes you happy, doesn't it? It made me happy when you see somebody who's so passionate about their job. And obviously because we were front row, we could see him quite well, and he had quite long hair as well, and he was just bouncing up and down and enjoying himself, and like, well done George Dyer, you made me happy tonight. But yes, very quickly let's have a quick look at this brochure as well, which by the way, I think this is £6 and that's £4, so together they come as £10 if you want to buy both. Oh, the sets as well were really good, by the way. This is just reminded me of the sets, the puzzle situations. It almost felt like the sets of Matilda, like kind of like a similar set situation. Obviously there's 3 different teams of children. Obviously we saw the ones that we saw. I think we saw the Rockefeller team, and the chick that was Annie was this one here, Ruby. But yeah, this actually is quite a cool little brochure situation. I'm excited to go through it later myself properly and have a look. Everybody was great. Yeah, very enjoyable, and these are the merchandise items that you can buy if you'd like to. Anyway guys, I've been talking and rambling for ages, sorry about that, but you know, I'm tired and also excited because I've just seen a show that I really enjoyed and I want to talk about it because that's what I do on this channel, so I hope you understand and appreciate. I would recommend Annie. Like I said, if you're a big Miranda Hart fan, definitely go and see it. Obviously she is great in it, she's funny. Even as somebody who's not necessarily a big fan of hers, I thought she was fun. Like I enjoyed her performance. If you love Annie the musical, I think this is one of the better productions that I've seen of it. So again, I would also recommend you to go and see it. It's very like, it's a family show, isn't it? Like it's just a good feel-good family fun show. And even if Miranda's off, because I know that she has been off like recently and people have been kicking off about it, go and see anyway. Like I would have been happy to see the understudy today. I know Joe obviously wanted to see Miranda, but I would have been happy either way. Yeah, I think it's just a really good show, really fun show. And leave comments down below and let me know if you have seen it already, or if you're planning to see it, or like anything you want. I need to go and sleep. Thank you for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye.